Yo, what's up, everybody, man? Welcome to the Multifaceted Minute. I am your podcaster, Reggie Harris, from Harris Multifaceted LLC, for all your motivational speaking, all your consulting, business consulting especially, and life coaching and fitness needs. Man, I just want to, it's been a minute, since I've been on and I've done any recordings or anything like that because, I've been busy doing a lot here lately, working on myself, working on some growth and doing some things, to grow my streams of income. But not only that, growing myself, intellectually and developing new skills and different things like that. But, so it's been definitely a fun adventure here this past month, but I had to get back to this, the multifaceted minute, and man, I love doing this, and I love the feedback that I've received from people, and the conversations that have been started through some of the conversations that I've had with you guys on here and stuff. So, without further ado, we're going to get rolling, man. I hope everybody's doing great. We're going to start off with our motivational minute. And y'all know, hey, I love encouraging people. One of my strengths, my top two strengths in Strength Finder personality test is positivity and woo. Woo is win others over. And that first one, positivity, like that is how I operated my supreme vibrational frequency, is being in a positive situation, an encouraging situation where everybody is constantly encouraging and uplifting each other and stuff like that, and where we're constantly building each other up and we're constantly moving forward. But I am a realist also too. And this brings me up to my motivational moment here. And this is, and I'll call this duality. I love dualities. And you say, well, Reggie, what do you mean by duality? First of all, duality means that you can exist in two different things at the same time that might be on different ends of the spectrum. Like you may be regressing and progressing at the same time. You might be depressed, but full of joy at the same time. You might be very positive, but also very untrusting, unyielding, and hurt all at the same time. And it is okay to function in those things. It is okay to give you another example that is very live and prevalent in our society is, let's talk about men for a second. And I know for myself, being a football player, coming from an environment where when I grew up at home, in the Black community, we didn't talk a lot about mental health. We didn't talk a lot about guys feeling their emotions. It's like, hey, this is where a man's supposed to be. This is where a man's supposed to handle things. I was an athlete, and also too, I was like, hey, you know what? I gotta be this way because I'm a man, and I'm this male athlete. I got all this testosterone. I'm energetic. I'm a fighter. I'm this. I'm that. And you wasn't necessarily embraced to embrace your feelings. And you would even be looked at as being somebody that was sensitive. We had certain slang words that are not kosher anymore that we would call extra sensitive guys. And so you wasn't taught to embrace that. You wasn't taught to embrace femininity as a masculine male. And I've learned over time, and it came with age, it came with conversations, it came with talking to mental health professionals. It came all along that, hey, I can still be the masculine Reggie that is hyperactive, strong, have that strong aura, have that alpha mentality when I walk into a room where I can draw the room and I can create the energy that I want. But also too, I can be yielding. I can allow somebody else to control the situation, to control the conversation, to control everything around me and still exist in that duality. But also too, I can be very sensitive too. It is okay that if I'm feeling empathetic with a person, that I can cry in the midst of that conversation with them and offer a hug to them instead of immediately resorting to violence, or like if I have a friend that went through something, instead of being like, oh man, we're gonna fight, we're gonna kick a mother, you know what I'm saying? Man, I can't believe that itch did that, you know, oh man, what the, you know, instead of reacting in that way, being able to draw into that sensitive side, say, hey man, just, hey, can I hug you? Man, what can we do to make you feel better? Let's go out to eat. Let's go take a walk. You know, I'm here to listen. So understanding that you can live into those dualities. You know, I can also live in a duality of saying, you know, hey, if I'm in a relationship, understand that it's okay to be that man that, hey, I'm providing, I'm doing all these things. I'm the one that holds her. I'm the one that does these different things for that individual whenever that time comes. You know, but also being able to tell her, hey, babe, I need you to hold me. I need to be vulnerable. And here's the negative side to that. Sometimes women are so programmed that when a man shows their vulnerability, they take advantage of it. Or I won't even say take advantage of it. They look at that man differently as being weak and sensitive or hypersensitive because he expressed himself. Because in society, we've been programmed that a man cannot operate in those dualities. And so, you know, that's the negative part of it. And now let's go on to looking at it in a female perspective. You know, as men, sometimes we get messed up with a woman that has, maybe you got this woman that drives a truck, that like to hunt, you know, but she like to get her nails did and, you know, and get her toenails did. And but she's independent, strong. She does everything of herself, but she still wants some masculine energy. And sometimes as guys, we get intimidated by that because we've been programmed that woman should not be opinionated. She shouldn't tell us what to do. She shouldn't have a voice. She shouldn't, you know, she get called as being a disruptive woman or whatever like that. But no, we have to understand that there's dualities. That woman can still want strong masculine energy, shave her head bald. You know what I'm saying? You get my drift here? Shave her head bald, get her nails did, go play hoops, you know, go shake up somebody, go shoot a deer, and still embrace both sides of who she is and what she's becoming. Same way with that man. That man can live in that duality of being a sensitive man, a caring man, but then also that man that screaming at the TV at his favorite sports team, going out, you know, doing those types of things that men do, going hunting, going fishing, whatever he wants to do at that particular time. He can embrace all of those things and still be a sensitive soul. He can hug another man without being homosexual. He can rub another man on his back. You know, I look at the dynamics of like when you have women best friends and stuff like that, and they hug each other and different things like that. Like my homies, I hug females, I hug my male homies. And I tell my male homies, if they looking good, like, bro, you looking, boy, I see you. I see you. And, you know, and being a heterosexual male, I feel very confident in doing that. Because my whole thing, first of all, I'm not in competition with that other male because I understand my gifts. I'm confident in who I am. And being able to say, okay, this man, he looks great. He looks phenomenal. I'm proud of him for what he's accomplished. His lane is his lane. My lane is my lane. And it's so much freedom in that. And that's why I want to encourage you guys. It's okay to live in a duality. Dualities are great. You can be healing at the same time when you're healing from trauma and still be affected by your trauma. You can still be triggered by your trauma, but working towards being healed from your trauma, not using, you know, your trauma and your trauma responses as an excuse to stay stagnant. Yes. Is it not uncomfortable? Yes. Do you might have to get professional help? Yes. You may have breakdowns and setbacks? Yes. But sometimes those setbacks are setups to progress. Oh, now y'all didn't hear me on that. Remember, sometimes setbacks are setups to progress. Don't ever forget that. Setbacks can be setups for progress. But here's the thing. We have to have a made up mind in order to keep progressing. We have to continue to keep moving. Is life perfect? Is life shitty? Yes, life is shitty. Life is tough. We're going to have our struggles. It's going to rain in our life. My mom used to always say this. She said, can't nobody live in perfect weather in your life all the time. If you ain't had no trouble, you ain't had no rain in your life, you just wait a while. It's coming. The storm is coming in your life. Because here's the other thing too. If there's constant sunshine and everything is perfect, guess what you have? You have a desert. You have dryness. There's no crops. There's no growth. I told somebody this the other day. A lot of times we think that our growth and us becoming a better person and us becoming fully who we're going to be is going to be found through some type of motivational speaker, through some kind of IG meme or some kind of revelation while we sleep, some kind of dream, some type of somebody just come and speak into our life or whatever it may be. Now, those things do happen. They definitely do happen. But a lot of time our growth comes through going through hard stuff. You know, sometimes being at the bottom, sometimes being pruned. Like I talked about that in one of my motivational moments about a plant being pruned. It looks naked. It looks bare. It doesn't look good. It looks like it's decrepit. But then guess what? That setback, that pruning of that plant. See, you have to get rid of some of the stuff that you have to go through. It has to develop some good stuff where your nutrients and where your focus can be into that new growth. And it doesn't always look pretty. It doesn't. And then here's the other thing. A lot of us are heading into different dynamics, different frequencies, different levels of life that we need to be prepared to handle. So the anxiety, and a lot of us, yes, our anxiety is real. It is hard. We all get anxious. Everybody does. Here's the thing. Everybody gets anxious. Some have it more than others. And then they do need that professional help, and some need medication. That is acknowledgeable, and that should be validated. But also, too, understand that anxiety is also part of the neuroplasticity going on in your brain. Your brain is actually, that's why sometimes you have a headache. That's why sometimes like you get a little overwhelmed, because the brain is literally just like a muscle being broke down when it's being sore. The brain is actually creating new pathways, new neurons. And then you can naturally stop that neuron from trying to figure out a new way of growth, a new way of evolution, or figuring out stuff. And by suppressing it and saying, okay, I'm not doing this, I'm not going well, I'm not trying to learn, I'm just going to shut down. When you suppress that, your brain going to have to visit that again, because you're going to continue to go through stuff that the brain has to figure out a way to handle it. This is biology too, people. It's all connected. So understand how dualities are beautiful. Dualities are phenomenal. Dualities are a part of the human experience. So don't allow those circumstances to not allow you to grow and go in the direction that you need to go in. Trust me, it's tough. It is. But it is okay to be in a duality. It is okay to be sensitive and strong. It is okay to need somebody and not need somebody. It is okay to want to be around people and not want to be around people. Society programs us. Oh, it's one extreme to another. You know, it is okay to be religious person and still question. That's a big one. Sometimes people don't like doing that. It is okay to be a non-religious person and still wonder what's out there and still believe in something. You can live in dualities. It is okay. It is not a crime. Dualities make you grow. Dualities allow you to live the human experience. The human experience is sometimes found in the gray, and it's not found in black and white. All right? Hey, love y'all, and ain't nothing that you can do about it. Now, moving on with the health tip. So if you're struggling with acid reflux, GERD, man, keep you some ginger root around. Ginger root has, so what happens with GERD is your body, the bacteria, sometimes the bad bacteria begins to overproduce, which therefore makes your body a little bit more acidic, you know, and then sometimes you have ulcers and different things like that that cause that, which is usually from stress, sometimes from the different types of food that we eat. And one of the most common calming um, nutrients not nutrients, but roots that we can ever have. And I call it a natural supplement. I'll just say that. It's ginger root. Ginger root is phenomenal for that. I always keep raw ginger around. I chew it. A lot of people can't do it. You can make it in a tea. Take pills, get you some pills for it. I like to do it raw, and I put it in my mouth because it also kills bad breath germs. Did you also know that your oral health is also an indication of your intestinal health too? That is another sign for that. Always watch your tongue. Make sure your tongue is clean. We learned that in yoga about the Ayurvedic practices. Brush your tongue, different things like that, because the bacteria in your mouth, if there's over accumulation of bacteria in your gut, the bad bacteria, it also rears itself in your mouth. So you have to take those types of things. Also, I would say get you a good probiotic, preferably plant-based. I like plant-based over dairy, but if you do get some with dairy, that's just fine too. But those probiotics are those good those good things that help decrease the bad probiotics in your body, because your gut health is also indicative of your mental health. All of it is connected. Neuroscience teaches that. I would say, I'm a big neuroscience nerd, and your gut health has a lot to do with your brain health too. So also understand, maybe cut down on the alcohol. That also kills, especially if you do that like on the often. Your good bacteria gets killed because it has to process and break down all of that sugar and all that alcohol. So if you like a heavy sugar eater, heavy carb eater, and you drink a lot too, your body is working extra hard to break down stuff. And if you eat a lot of meat along with all of that too, your body is working extra hard. So you do have to replenish the probiotics. Your kidneys and liver, they all function along with that internal gut health too. So getting you a good probiotics, getting you some ginger root. Also, if you need to clean yourself out, a great thing is activated charcoal. Activated charcoal comes in pills. So what that does is binds the bad bacteria, binds bad enzymes, and it pushes it up out of you. Activated charcoal is phenomenal. That's why they put it in toothpaste too, because it binds the germs, it binds the bad bacteria, and pushes that on out of the system. And actually, it is a binding force. Also, when you use it on your skin, that's why it's healthy for your skin, because it pulls the bad bacteria out of your skin. Activated charcoal does. Because think about it. Your skin, this is the same substance that is within your intestines. That's why when you rub lotion, that's why you have to be careful what type of lotions you put on your skin, because it soaks within your skin and gets in your bloodstream. It's the same thing in your intestinal health. Your intestinal health, when you eat something, etc., it is pulled within your circulatory system from the intestines, the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, all of that stuff. And it travels throughout the body for you said. That's why when you, you do a lozenge under your tongue, you have a lot of capillaries under your tongue that, just like your skin, soaks it into the bloodstream, and then it takes it into the system. That is another way. That's why when you put stuff in your mouth and you hold it there. Another thing that I do too is cloves, like the little cloves. You do that in your mouth. That helps with oral health. Not only with oral health, it helps pull the bacteria out and help with your intestinal system too. So another thing too for that is licorice root. And like I said, a lot of these things are gross by themselves, but if you get them in pill form, just start off with that. And maybe you want to step to the dark side like me. And I do like raw ginger and all of that. And I actually do cloves, and I put them in my mouth and just bite them around a little bit and hold them in my mouth for about somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. And you can definitely feel the difference. And with the ginger, I chew it and then I drink water. But going back to the probiotic thing, like kimchi, apple cider vinegar, all of those different types of things that naturally create bacteria, create the healthy bacteria. That's the reason why most people in Mediterranean areas, they live a long time, because they do a lot of fermented stuff like balsamic vinegar. All of those different types of vinegars and stuff that they put into their food. And then you have the natural fruits. They do a lot of natural fruit, the olive oils, and they do 100% natural stuff without frying it, without, they still fry food and stuff. But what I'm saying is that they do a lot of like those olive oil, put it in your bread raw, the raw olive oil, unfiltered, and all of that type of stuff. So, all of those types of things, fruit, eating raw vegetables, all of that stuff increases your probiotic, your belly probiotic, and allow yourself to fight another day. So that's my health tip. Now, a couple things I want to get into here is let's talk about my home state, Mississippi. Two things that came out in the past few weeks, man. I love my home state and I love Southern culture, but some things we got to work on. And it's making excuses for people that are rich. I get that. I don't have a problem with a person being rich. I don't have a problem with a person with money. But when you see the disparity in treatment, and even as just regular people in society, we'll look down on somebody for welfare fraud. But this Brett Farve situation where, you're basically telling a school that, because your daughter played volleyball there, that we're going to fraud the government. And then the governor, the former governor, and then even the current governor fired the person that brought this information up. And you see how they cover for each other. And yet and still, we'll make excuses for these people. And it's like, they're defrauding millions and millions of dollars from the poor. But let me show you how effed up we are. We were getting mad at that single mom who may do a little food stamp fraud for a couple $100 a month, but it's okay for millionaires to steal PPP money. And Brett Farve, like I said, worth over $100 million because his daughter plays volleyball at Southern Miss, gonna get this new building built through poor money, government money from the feds that is designed to go towards poor people in the poorest state in the United States. Now tell me how crazy, corrupt you have to be in your head to do that. But that's been going on in centuries. And then when you talk to your friends about why you vote for people like our past two governors, well, it's the lesser of two evils. Lesser of two evil, my butt. So you like white collar, okay. So, all right, you get somebody else in there. Yeah, you don't agree with abortion. Or you don't agree with, this person, they have a few different policies. But here's my whole thing. They still rob this, and let's look at the statistics. Most states, that's why I tell people you need balance. If you have an extreme Democratic state and you have an extreme Republican state, they always, if they're extreme, either one, most of living down south, most of these states are Republican, and they've been Republican for like 30, 40 years. And Republican governors, Republican congressmen, Republican senators, sometimes you'll see some stats that are very staggering. Like the top 10 STD states in America that was reported, 8 of them are southern states. My old state, Mississippi, number 1. Alabama in there, Louisiana in there, all Republican, Georgia in there, all Republican controlled states, because these people don't believe in teaching sex education. Whether you believe it or not, y'all, and I'm going to come back to the Brett Farve situation, but I got to address this. People going to have sex. We need to teach our kids proper sex. We need to teach them sex education. They need to know sex education. And then you go, they don't have sex. Jesus ain't going to stop you from having sex. It just ain't going to happen. Now, for some, they have the willpower to be able to do that. But for some, but then you have this other population, and we've all seen it, that get married to have sex because they're horny and they can't control themselves anymore. And then they marry somebody that they're not even compatible with. And then 30 years down the road, they realize, you know what? They have an awakening. They realize what they did after the kids are out the house. Now they like, well, I gotta go. I did not marry somebody. I married somebody because I was religiously guilted into marrying somebody because I felt like this was an identity thing, a tick marker, because that's what religion does sometimes. Makes you have to check mark some stuff if you really don't have, if you're not secure in your religion, whatever you are, if your identity is found in the check marks, in the works of that religion, it will force you to do things that you may not necessarily, you look back on, you're like, damn, did I not just do that just to get a check mark? Yes, that's what you did it for. So, when you look at states, they're number one in the worst, even in infant mortality rates, because they don't want to provide health care, proper health care for women that are pregnant. These southern states. And like I said, when you look at states like California, which is extreme Democrat, you got other things that are wrong there too. I tell people, it takes a balance. And it takes people coming to the table. This extreme politic thing, that need to stop. Because both parties have right in them. You just have to be able to learn to meet at the table and say, hey, you know what? Let's find a balanced solution with this. Differences make the world go round. Please understand that, y'all. Differences make the world go round. There's nobody that's completely right. Like I've talked about the duality here earlier. Dualities are maybe the most form of correctness than anything. You get what I'm saying there? All right, so going back to this Brett Farve situation. And like I said, for me, it's just so hard being a former athlete myself, understanding how much I admire Brett Farve. I love this game. And he's a Mississippi boy, and you love to see people in Mississippi do it big. But this type of stuff right here, man, it's got to stop. And, there's corruption in every type of government. But when you see governors have a hand in hand, the good old boy system, and doing that and just literally stealing from the poor and continue to tell the poor, pull up by your bootstraps, go work at a factory, yeah. And it's so much deeper than that. But I need you guys to understand why those states are poor. And if you understand that systematic classism, systematic racism, because that's also a thing too, systematic classism. If you can fool the poor white people that they're better than the poor black people, then sometimes the poor white people will condone what the rich white person is doing. And that's a part of Southern culture. If you go back and you look at how slavery was made okay, how sharecropping was made okay, why people were still killing each other in the 60s and 70s down south, why the federal government had to go down south, why they had to send in National Guards and do all that type of stuff. That's the mentality that was very prevalent down south. You had laws that said that black people weren't even a full person. So if those mentalities exist in people's subconscious, and majority of your state is the colored people are the poor people, it's okay to steal money from them people because, oh yeah, now they all of a sudden they got a better opportunity. So leave them out there to defend for themselves, But if that money's supposed to be going to your state to help them, why ain't you using it towards that? Why are you using it to build up your continual pipeline? You feel me? To make that a new stadium for one of your friends who worth over $100 million. It's just, that stuff is corrupt, man. That stuff is trashy. However you want to dissect it. And there's no excuse for it. And you look at the Jackson water situation. The governor is making jokes towards the mayor of Jackson. Like, bro, that's a state problem. That's not just the mayor problem. If you would allow the Corps of Engineers to continue to have say-so in the state dynamics and the demographics and how if you didn't cut state funding towards that, that would be better there. You wouldn't have had that problem with the water. But that is a state problem. You don't just push that stuff aside like that as a governor. You're a leader. Come on, man. But as I was saying here earlier, man, I'm going to get ready to close this thing out. Man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation here today. But start thinking about stuff. Look up those stories. Look up that story. Look at the governor, how he's shooting shots at Jackson with the water situation. And we already know about Flint. It's these things that really make people like, man, dang, I can't believe this stuff's still going on. But hey, y'all, Love you.